We're working on the 1955 Buick Century Dynaflow transmission, and I'm working on the torque converter. And this is the stator, the variable pitch stator. You can see these things look like little wings, and it basically has two positions. Um, Normal driving would be like this, and then under full throttle, these things would collapse, multiplying your torque. Basically, uh, more, a variable stall speed converter is what we have here. One of the problems I had is this screw right here is a clutch style head screw, and of all the tools I own, I did not have one, and I finally found one, and I had to buy an entire kit, which was only $9, but to get this little, it's called a clutch style or butterfly, and these things were super tight. I've already got them out, but I want to show you a trick so you don't damage anything. Is to use your drill press or a arbor press or any kind of press to put a little bit of pressure on the bolt as you turn it, so you don't strip them out, and that way you don't have to worry about stripping out the screw. It works real well. You don't want to get carried away, just a little bit of pressure, more than you could do by pushing on it, and they come right out. So that way I didn't damage the screw in any way, because they have a tendency to slip out. So if you got a drill press, use it for that purpose. Don't get carried away. Just put a little pressure on it, and you'll save a lot of screws that way. The next step will be taking this thing apart because we want to replace the seals. Okay, we have all the screws out, and now there's also two dowel pins here. And what we want to do is carefully rock this back and forth, and this it splits the pins for those little veins there, so usually a good wiggle. There it goes. So you got the little lines there that coincide with that. That can only go on one way, so we're not going to worry too much about it. The bushings look good. They fit tight on the shaft, so we're not going to worry about those. The next step, we'll be pulling that snap ring out. We've got the snap ring off now, and then there's a washer, retaining ring I guess you'd call it, and now all this is exposed. I really don't want to take these out of here, but I don't know how this is going to go. All I really wanted to do is push out the piston, and if that's possible to do without messing everything else up, there, that's what I wanted to accomplish. Okay, and here's the sealing ring right here, the steel ring. I wanted to inspect this, and I wanted to inspect that bore to be absolutely sure it's in good condition. It appears to be okay. I may not have to do anything to this except clean it up and put it back together. But this is kind of critical to make sure everything is good before you put this thing back together. So that's what I'm going to do next, is kind of inspect everything. And if everything looks good, we're going to put her back together. Okay, I did have a new sealing ring in the kit, so I went ahead and put the new sealing ring on. And I also used some 600 wet and dry sandpaper, and I cleaned this all up in there, scuffed it a little bit. So we're ready to put this back in, and I don't think it's going to need too much help. Let's see. Yeah, just about got it. There we go. Okay, let's go in there. Now there's just one sealing ring on the outside. The other one has like a spiral cut in it. Hopefully I won't lose these veins here. Okay. After a couple of tries, I realized that the best way to put this on here is with these hanging down. I was trying to do it the other way. They seem to lay in there real nice when I do that. I do have my snap ring on and my washer and the piston in place. So then I just have to line up my dowels and slide this on. Like I say, I tried a couple different ways, and it seems like the best way is to do it. Is with the vanes hanging down. I was trying to do it with them flat, and that did not work. They just kept falling out of place. So I'm just going to put a couple screws in. I'm not going to tighten them. I'm just going to tighten it with my fingers and make sure that it functions before I torque them down. I don't want to bend anything or screw something up at this point. And that puts it together. My piston is down. You can see it is working. My piston is going in and out. I got my new sealing ring in there. So that worked out real well. So now I'm going to go ahead and put my other screws in. I'm going to check to see if there's a torque spec on those. I'm not sure that there is, but I will look. If there is, I will use the same method in the drill press and we'll torque those down. Well, we got the Stator sealing ring installed, and we're ready to put those clutch head screws back in. And I got them just snugged up a little bit, but I want to tighten them. The book really doesn't tell you how tight to get these, so we're kind of on our own there. So I guess it's going to be good and tight. I don't want to get carried away, but put a little pressure on them. There. I would say we're probably at about maybe 8 or 9 foot-pounds, I'm guessing. Yeah, I'm going to keep going. I'll finish those, and that part of it will be done. Well, we just tightened our clutch head screws, and pistons in and everything. We're going to be putting this back together, and basically this just slides in there, and not really much to it. I have one thing I wanted to mention. I didn't mention it before, I don't think. This surface right here was kind of gouged up, so I just lapped that on some wet sandpaper on a piece of glass just to knock off any rough edges. I don't think it has any significance whatsoever. I don't like rough edges unless they're supposed to be there. So we got that, and we got our little locks that drop in there. Get those in place. Okay. And let's see, we've got to pop our snap ring in here. If I remember right, I had to do it right over a hole to get it to pop in there. There we go. And I like to move them and get them away from the hole so they're out there. So that's in place. So this is the old washer, but that's about as far as I can go for right now. And I do have the little wave springs and the rollers in there for our overrunning clutch, but that's when you actually start assembling it together. So it's a very unique little, fascinating little, it's almost like a jet engine, like you find in a turbine engine or something. It's kind of cool, and I can't even imagine what that would cost to have that built today, something like this. So there we are for the Stator. That's pretty much it for it. And we'll move on from there.